No one prepares you for the moment when someone you love uses your deepest wound as a punchline. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a troll online. It was my sister Isabel, the girl who used to braid my hair while humming along to old records, the one who held my hand when I was 5 and scared of thunderstorms, the same girl who now mocked my infertility in front of our entire family at a brunch table decorated with pastel flowers and fake smiles. That day, everything changed. I didn't even want to go to the brunch. It was our cousin Lily's engagement celebration, and I had been quietly avoiding family gatherings for months. Not because I didn't love my family, but because every question came with a knife. So, any baby news yet? Have you thought about adoption? You're not getting any younger, Amelia. I smiled through all of it, bit my tongue until it bled, let my sister do all the talking. She had always been the golden one, the loud laugh, the quick wit, the endless charm. People gravitated toward her like bees to honey. And I used to be one of them. Until that day. The brunch was in full swing. Mimosas clinked. Laughter floated. And I sat at the edge of the table, quietly pushing scrambled eggs around my plate, half listening to stories about wedding colors and honeymoon plans. And then Isabel leaned in. Loud enough for the table to hear, but soft enough to pretend it was just between sisters. Amelia should plan the baby shower. Someone chuckled. Whose? She smirked, sipped her drink, and said, Who else? Hers. She's had so many practice rounds you'd think she was hosting dry runs. There was a beat. A pause. A silence so sharp it sliced through me. Then the laughter erupted, nervous, confused. Some thought she was being edgy. Others thought they missed the joke. A few laughed just because everyone else was. I sat still. My breath lodged in my throat. All I could hear was the sound of my heartbeat, thudding like a war drum inside my ribs. She looked at me. Not with guilt, not with empathy, with triumph. The kind of smile people wear when they think they've won something. And I realized then, this wasn't an accident. She meant it. She wanted me to feel small. I stood up. My chair scraped so loudly the entire table flinched. I mumbled something an excuse, maybe, or just noise, and walked out. My heels echoed on the polished floor, my chest tight, my hands shaking. Outside, I couldn't breathe. The air was thick. My lungs felt full of water. I walked until my feet hurt. I walked past the bakery where she and I used to split croissants, past the bookstore where we shared secrets in between aisles, past every memory that suddenly felt poisoned. It wasn't just the joke. It was everything that came before it. The pattern I had ignored. The baby-themed birthday cards she sent after my failed IVF. The sarcastic comment she made after my second miscarriage. At least your body knows how to try. The fake concern. The performative sympathy. The way she always turned my pain into a prop for her humor. That day, something broke. And for the first time in years, I didn't want to fix it. I wanted to remember. Every comment. Every laugh. Every moment I stayed silent because it was easier to let her win than to fight for my dignity. No more. When I got home, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I opened my laptop. And I started a folder. I named it The Line She Crossed. Because she thought she was clever. She thought it was just another jab in a long list of passive-aggressive digs. But she didn't know something about me. I don't forget. And I don't lose. Especially when the game is about what matters most to me. And nothing mattered more than what she mocked. My journey to become a mother wasn't over. But hers? Was about to meet a twist she'd never see coming. I wish I could tell you that brunch was an isolated moment, a lapse in judgment, a poor attempt at humor gone wrong. But the truth is, Isabel's joke wasn't the first time she weaponized my pain. It was just the loudest. For years, she had disguised cruelty as closeness, wrapped sarcasm in sugar, masked envy as jokes. She was the kind of sister who gave you a bandage after cutting you open. The kind who told you it was just sisterly teasing, when in reality it was slow erosion peeling away your self-worth one comment at a time. It started small. After my first miscarriage, I remember sitting at the kitchen table, staring at a positive pregnancy test that had meant everything. Only days later, it had all unraveled in pain and red sheets. I was still raw when she came by with a care package chocolate, bath salts, and a card. On the front it said, "Better luck next time." I forced a laugh. I told myself it was dark humor. I told myself she meant well. Because the alternative that she was laughing at my grief was too much to admit. But it didn't stop there. Every time I talked about my treatment, my hopes, or even just the daily exhaustion of hormone injections and blood work, she would find a way to twist the knife. Wow, you really are committed. I give up on diets by day 3, but look at you, torturing your body for months. Or, if it doesn't work out, there's always poodles, they don't talk back. Or the time I passed on wine during a family dinner because of my fertility meds. She raised her glass and toasted. To Amelia, the most sober, sad girl we know. Everyone laughed, even me, out of habit. Because what else do you do when the person who should protect your heart becomes the one throwing darts? You laugh. You normalize it. You gaslight yourself before anyone else can. But over time, those jokes built a wall between us, brick by brick, sarcasm by sarcasm. And when I tried to pull away to set even the gentlest boundary, she would flip the narrative. You're so sensitive. I was just kidding. Why are you always the victim? That was her favorite one, the victim. As if grief was a role I chose. As if waking up every morning hoping this time my body might hold on to life was a performance. What she never understood, or maybe what she did understand too well, was that infertility wasn't just about babies, it was about loss. Loss of time. Loss of identity. Loss of control. And, worst of all, loss of trust. Because when your own sister can mock the most sacred part of your pain, where are you supposed to feel safe? For years, I made excuses for her. She doesn't mean it. She's just insecure. She doesn't know how much this hurts. But at some point, ignorance becomes cruelty. And cruelty, dressed up in sisterhood, becomes a betrayal too quiet to scream about but too loud to ignore. Looking back, I see how deeply I internalized her version of me. Not just Isabel, but the family too. They saw her as the fun one, the charming one. They saw me as the serious one, the delicate one, the one whose dreams kept collapsing like bad soufflés. No one ever asked how that felt. No one ever stopped the jokes. No one ever said, "That's enough." And so I learned to sit in silence while they built a caricature of me brittle, sad Amelia, always on the verge of tears. But what they didn't see was the fire quietly building under the surface. Because every joke, every side-eyed comment, every hollow "I'm just trying to lighten the mood" was fuel. They were feeding something they couldn't see, a quiet storm forming behind my calm. And Isabel? She handed me the match. I didn't lash out right away. That's never been my way. I am not the explosion. I am the slow burn, the earthquake that rumbles long before the ground splits open. So I kept my voice low, my posture soft. But inside, I was done. Done explaining. Done excusing. Done letting love be conditional on how small I could make myself. And that's when everything began to shift. Because when you stop trying to prove your pain is real, you start reclaiming your power. And mine was about to reshape not just my future, but hers. By the time the baby shower came around, I had already decided I would attend, but only to confirm what I already suspected. That Isabel didn't just mock me. She enjoyed doing it. It was her friend Melanie's shower. A lavish event held at a rooftop venue downtown, complete with rented floral arches, custom mocktails, and a live string quartet, because Isabel never missed a chance to curate a scene. She was one of the hosts, of course, the clipboard in hand, bossy but charming, center-of-the-room kind. The kind that made it look like she cared too much. When in truth, she only cared that you were watching her care. I came late, wearing soft blue, intentionally the same shade as the napkins she had picked out. That way, if she accused me of trying to stand out, I could just point to her own decor. But I wasn't there to make a statement. I was there to study. And the moment I walked in, I could feel it, the stiffness in the air. Like I'd brought weather with me. She saw me, raised an eyebrow. Then smile. "Well, well," she purred, loud enough for heads to turn. "Look who decided to show up. Did the IVF clinic give you a day off?" The silence cracked like thunder. Some guests laughed awkwardly. Others glanced at me like I was the wild card, the emotionally unpredictable sister who might cry or make a scene. But I didn't flinch. I didn't even blink. Instead, I walked up to her, hugged her lightly cheek to cheek, and whispered, "Keep going. Every word makes what I'm about to do even sweeter." She leaned back, confused. But I was already smiling. The rest of the shower passed like a play I'd seen before. Games, cake, Polaroids. And Isabel, narrating it all like she was the one giving birth instead of Melanie. She worked the room effortlessly, dropping subtle jabs about how hard parenting will be, joking that she might need a surrogate herself if she didn't find the right guy soon, then side-eyeing me just long enough for the message to land. I stayed quiet, present, composed. And then came the gifts. Everyone sat in a semicircle, presenting their offerings with pride tiny socks, bottle warmers, designer onesies. When it was my turn, I handed over a plain white envelope. Melanie opened it and gasped. "Amelia, this is the whole doula package?" I smiled gently. Every new mom deserves support. Real support. She teared up, thanked me. Everyone applauded. And Isabel? She looked like she swallowed a lemon, because she couldn't joke this away. Couldn't say I was attention-seeking. Couldn't pretend her cruelty had been misunderstood. In that moment, surrounded by witnesses, her power cracked. But it wasn't over. Not yet. After the cake was served and the crowd thinned, Isabel cornered me in the hallway near the restroom. Her smile was gone. "What the hell was that?" I shrugged. "A gift." "Don't play coy, Amelia. You upstaged me." I let the silence stretch, then said softly, "You upstaged yourself the day you made jokes about dead embryos." Her face paled. "That was God. It was a joke. You're so dramatic all the time." "No," I cut in, my voice like glass. "I was grieving. You were mocking. There's a difference." She scoffed, folding her arms. "So what? You're here for revenge now?" I stepped closer. "Number. I'm here to let you know I've stopped playing small so you can shine. I stopped making myself the punchline to your insecurities." She didn't respond, just stared at me, stunned that I wasn't crying, that I wasn't trembling. But something in her eyes flickered. Fear? Guilt? Or just the realization that I was no longer the easy target? I turned to leave, paused. "By the way, if you're still talking to Ryan, you might want to give him a call soon." Her brow furrowed. "Why?" I smiled. "Let's just say he's about to become a father, and this time it'll be someone else wearing the hospital bracelet." I walked out before she could respond. Outside, the night air hit my face like a benediction. I didn't win anything. I didn't reclaim some moral high ground. But I did reclaim myself. I wasn't the broken sister anymore. I was the one with a plan. And my revenge wouldn't be cruel, wouldn't be loud. It would be life-giving. The moment I saw him, I almost turned around. It had been nearly 3 years since I'd last spoken to Ryan Isabel's ex-boyfriend. They'd dated for 2 years, and to everyone in the family, he was the one that got away. He was the calm to her chaos, the listener in a room full of talkers. The kind of man who remembered birthdays, bought thoughtful gifts, and stayed late to help clean up after family dinners, even after Isabel had already vanished into the bathroom with her phone. They broke up under vague circumstances. Isabel told the family it was because he was too boring. He told no one anything, just faded from the holiday pictures and polite conversations. I never reached out. He was her past, and at the time, I still believed in lines that shouldn't be crossed. But fate, or whatever plays puppeteer to lives like mine, had other plans. I ran into him at the fertility clinic, of all places. He was in the lobby, filling out a form. I recognized the way he chewed the inside of his cheek when he was anxious. His hair was longer, there were light crow's feet near his eyes, the kind that appear on people who have learned to laugh after the crying. I froze. He looked up. A flicker of surprise. Then, "Amelia?" I nodded, unsure of what to say. The last time we spoke, it was over cheesecake at Isabel's birthday party. I had complimented the key lime pie he made from scratch. Now we stood here, in a space that knew the kind of ache polite society doesn't talk about. "Are you," he gestured around the room, "here for—" "Yeah," I said quietly, still hoping. His eyes softened. I'm sorry. Don't be. Hope's stubborn. I think she's got a heartbeat. He smiled at that. The first real one I'd seen in months. I motioned to his clipboard. You? We're trying, my partner and I. It's been a ride. Partner? I asked, surprised. Taylor. She's great. We've been together 2 years. She's a cancer survivor, so surrogacy's the only path for us. We've been trying to find a match. His voice caught slightly on the last word. I could hear it, the same exhausted hope I carried. That's when it hit me. Like a clean snap inside my mind. This was the opportunity I didn't know I was waiting for. Not revenge. Not sabotage. But a way to redirect everything my sister weaponized against me into something that would lift someone else up. What she mocked my pain could become someone else's joy. Over the next hour, we caught up in soft, tentative conversation. He told me how he'd started his own nonprofit, how he and Taylor had struggled to find an agency that wouldn't gouge them, how they had almost given up last month when a surrogate backed out. I listened, nodding, feeling something stir inside me. And when the time felt right, I said, "What if I helped?" He blinked. Helped? With the process, the legal stuff, the match, the medical coverage. I've been through it all. I know what to expect. And I have a few resources that might speed things up. He hesitated. Amelia, we can't. I'm not offering a loan, I'm offering help. No strings, no drama. He looked at me like he didn't quite believe it. But I meant it. Because this wasn't about Isabel anymore. This was about choosing what to do with my scars. And I chose to let them guide someone else home. That night, I opened my folder again, the line she crossed, and created a new subfolder. This one I called The Life I Gave Anyway. Inside, I pasted agency referrals, legal guides, funding paperwork, and a note to myself. She laughed at my womb. I will build someone else's family with it. You know what no one tells you? That the most powerful revenge doesn't look like fire and fury. It looks like kindness, controlled, silent, undeniable. After my conversation with Ryan, I didn't tell anyone. Not a friend, not a coworker, not even my therapist. This wasn't a story I wanted applause for. This wasn't about proving anything to Isabel. This was about something sacred. About reclaiming the part of me she tried to humiliate my ability to nurture, to give, to mother, and turning it into a blessing. Even if it wasn't mine to keep. Ryan and Taylor were hesitant at first. Grateful, but guarded. I didn't blame them. The fertility world is full of promises that vanish. People disappear. Agencies overcharge. Lawyers stall. But I was different. I had lived this maze. I knew where the corners were cut, where costs exploded, where time got wasted. So I handled it all quietly. I found them a surrogate, a woman named Jen, 29, with 2 healthy kids of her own and a heart so generous I almost cried during the Zoom call. I paid the agency retainer anonymously. When the clinic called with test fees, I had already wired the amount. I prepaid the legal review, the psychiatric evaluation, and even the maternity insurance for Jen. It cost me more than I want to admit, but I had saved for years, saving for my own future family. Now I was using it to give someone else theirs. A strange ache came with that decision, like handing over the keys to a house you built from memory. But it also felt right, because it was mine to give. 3 months later, I got a call. Ryan's voice was shaking. We're pregnant. Those 2 words, simple, beautiful, piercing, wrapped around my chest like warmth. 6 weeks. Healthy heartbeat. Jen said she's never felt this connected to an intended couple before. Taylor's crying. She wanted to thank you herself, but she's a mess. I swallowed hard. Tell her I said congratulations. Amelia, he paused. I don't know how to say thank you. I smiled. You just did. He was quiet for a second. You know, Isabel would lose her mind if she ever found out you were behind this. I chuckled softly. That's the plan. For the next several months, I watched from a distance. Jen sent regular updates. Her baby bump grew. So did the nursery photos. Ryan shared with me privately soft grays and yellows, hand-painted stars on the walls. They invited me to appointments. I always declined. This wasn't about inserting myself into their family. It was about proving to myself that what Isabel tried to destroy in me, my compassion, my strength, my motherhood, had never died. It had just been waiting for the right place to bloom. Meanwhile, Isabel was spiraling. After the baby shower confrontation, she started dropping hints to friends that I was acting weird. She posted cryptic stories. Some people need to heal privately instead of becoming martyrs. Not everyone who smiles is kind. I ignored them. She called me twice, left voicemails pretending to check in on me. I didn't return them. And the silence drove her insane. One afternoon, as I walked through a quiet bookstore, my phone lit up. A message from Ryan. "Ultrasound tomorrow, wanna see?" He sent a video. Jen laughing on the table, Taylor holding her hand. The technician pointing to the screen. "Here's the heartbeat, strong, baby's waving." I stood there in the middle of the aisle, surrounded by stories, holding a story I helped create. And I cried. Not the broken, quiet sobs I had once known, not the kind you hide from mirrors. But full, proud tears. Because I had become the reason someone would hold their baby for the first time. And Isabel? She would never know. That was the most beautiful part. This wasn't revenge. This was redemption. Mine. It happened faster than I expected. I had been living in my quiet little peace bubble for months. No family group chats, no brunches, no just checking in texts from people who only wanted gossip. Just me, my work, my morning tea, and the occasional video update from Ryan and Taylor. And then one morning, my phone buzzed like a swarm. Missed calls. Voicemails. Group text notifications lighting up like fireworks. At first, I thought someone had died. But no. Someone had been born. Or at least, someone was about to be. And Isabel had found out. It started with a photo. Ryan had posted it on Facebook, not public, just to friends. But someone in the extended family saw it, shared it, and tagged Isabel by accident. The picture showed Taylor, glowing and pregnant, standing next to Jen, their surrogate, who was holding a small chalkboard that read, 32 weeks, baby Harper coming soon? And Ryan? He stood behind them both, hands on their shoulders, eyes proud. The comments poured in like rain. So happy for you. What a beautiful modern family. You're going to be the best parents. And right there, nestled innocently between likes and hearts, was one comment that detonated everything. So glad Amelia connected you with Jen. What a perfect match. Boom. By noon, my phone was ringing off the table. Isabel's number popped up first. I didn't answer. Then a string of messages. Are you kidding me? You went behind my back? Tell me this is a joke. I didn't reply. Then came the voice message. It started calm, controlled, even. Amelia, listen, I just saw the photo and the comment, and I'm trying to understand how you're involved with Ryan's baby. Then it turned sharp. You're sick. You're actually sick. You planned this, didn't you? You did this just to get at me. Wow. Wow. You always pretended to be the victim, but you were always calculating. Then it turned pleading. Please, just tell me it's not true. Please. Then it turned cruel. You're disgusting, and everyone's going to see it. Click. She texted Taylor. Taylor blocked her. She texted Ryan. He sent one reply. You mocked your sister's infertility. She gave me a family. Think about that. Isabel didn't text me again that day. Or the next. But I heard from my mother. Then my aunt. Then a cousin. All versions of the same guilt-laced plea. Couldn't you have told her first? Did you do this just to hurt her? You know how sensitive Isabel is. I sat with those texts for hours before answering any of them, because the irony nearly choked me. They wanted me to protect her feelings? After she used mine like a public punching bag? After she turned my pain into performance art? After she paraded my fertility failures like party favors? I typed, deleted, retyped. Then finally sent one message. When I was grieving, she gave me a cactus and made jokes. I gave someone else a child. If you can't see the difference, I'm done explaining. Silence. Then, a slow exodus. A few family members unfriended me online. Others just stopped responding. But for the first time in my life, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt lighter. Like I had finally put down the weight of needing to be understood. That night, Isabel tried one more time. Another voicemail. Her voice shaky. Quiet. You didn't just take him from me. You won him. You won everything. And I hate you for that. She was wrong, of course. I didn't take him. She threw him away. And I simply honored what he still carried. Decency, tenderness, hope. But more than that, I didn't win anything. I chose something. To turn my pain into something sacred. To mother a miracle that didn't belong to me and never needed to. Because that was power. Not loud. Not cruel. But unstoppable. The next time Isabel called, I let it ring until the screen went dark. And then again. And again. Each time she tried, I watched her name flash across the phone like a ghost that hadn't realized it was already dead to me. She had said her piece. Her voice messages were unhinged, mosaics of confusion, fury, and victimhood. But this time, I didn't even play them. I just deleted each one as it came in a new ritual of release. Because I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't broken. I was done. And that silence? It was louder than any scream I could have given her. The thing about Isabel was that she always expected a scene, a slap, a comeback, something dramatic that she could twist into a narrative that made her the hero or at least the misunderstood villain. But when I gave her nothing, I knew it would eat her alive. People like her need a reaction to feel real. They need someone else's tears to justify their actions, someone else's rage to validate their cruelty. So when I didn't respond, when I didn't cry, when I didn't defend myself or even acknowledge the war she thought she was still fighting, I won. 1 week after she found out, I received a letter in the mail. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter on ivory paper, sealed with a sticker that read, "From the Heart." It was in her handwriting. I stared at it for 5 minutes before opening it. Inside, 4 pages of half apologies and full circle blame. I didn't mean to hurt you. You've always been sensitive. This whole thing with Ryan is insane. How could you? I'm your sister Amelia. We're supposed to have each other's backs. She had the audacity to write, I know I've said some things in the past, but this feels like revenge. I folded the letter back up and slid it into the drawer next to the others, the folder I kept for moments. I never wanted to forget, but refused to keep reading. Because this wasn't revenge. This was recovery. This was reclamation. This was the art of choosing yourself over and over until the world adjusts to the sound of your silence. I didn't need to respond. There was nothing left to say. She already knew. She saw the nursery photos. She read the comment thread that praised my support. She heard from mutual friends how grateful Ryan and Taylor were. She knew the baby would grow up never knowing her and that I had helped bring that life into the world. That was the echo she would live with. And I didn't have to lift a finger. Months passed. Jen's belly grew. Taylor glowed. Ryan sent updates like little sunrises in my inbox. She kicked today. Nursery's almost done. Taylor cried over baby socks. Each message was like stitching in a wound I didn't even realize still needed closing. And Isabel? She faded. No more calls. No more letters. No more posts. She had finally accepted what silence truly meant. That I had outgrown the story where I was the sister she could control. I had left the stage. I went to a farmer's market one Sunday, warm sun, coffee in hand, the smell of baked apples and rosemary in the air. I passed a vendor selling hand-knitted baby blankets. One was soft white, lined with gold thread. I paused. Expecting? The old woman asked gently. I smiled. Not exactly. I bought it anyway. I wrapped it, wrote a card. For Harper born from grace, surrounded by love, and wrapped in the quiet strength of women who chose peace over bitterness. I signed it anonymously. Because the truth was, Harper didn't need to know me. She only needed to know love. The night Harper was born, it rained. Not the heavy kind that floods streets and drowns out thought, but the soft kind. The kind that taps against window panes like lullabies. The kind that makes the world slow down. Reflect. It was 2:13 a.m. when I got the message. A photo, no words. Just her. Tiny, swaddled, pink, eyes closed. A bow of dark hair. One fist curled tight like she already knew the world was something to face with strength. My breath caught in my chest. I sat up in bed, palms trembling as I held the phone like it was made of glass. I stared at that photo for a long time, not crying, not shaking, just feeling. Like something I'd been carrying for years, the ache, the loss, the endless whys had suddenly landed. Not with a crash, but with a hush. Like a soul settling. An hour later, another message. Taylor's okay, Jen is okay, she came out strong, we're naming her Harper Grace. Because she came from Grace. I pressed the screen to my chest. And for the first time in 5 years, I laid back, closed my eyes, and slept. No dreams of needles. No echoes of laughter in baby showers. No silent dinners after failed tests. No, Isabel. Just sleep. Real sleep. The kind that comes when the war inside you has ended. In the days that followed, I didn't tell anyone. No announcements, no social media confessions, no self-congratulatory monologues. I just lived, watered my plants, donated to the surrogacy support group, sent flowers to the hospital under an alias, a woman who still believes in miracles. And when Ryan messaged, "We want you to meet her. Please," I gently declined. Because this wasn't about creating ties. It was about creating space. Space for Harper to grow in a world untouched by rivalry, bitterness, or family drama she never asked to inherit. She didn't need to know that her father once dated my sister. She didn't need to know what Isabel said about my body. She didn't need to know who paid for her to arrive. She just needed love. And she had it. That was enough. Isabel never mentioned it again. She moved on or pretended to. Posted pictures of yoga retreats and raw juice and self-care quotes that read like apologies she was too proud to say. Our paths didn't cross. Not on holidays, not at family events, not even in gossip circles. It was as if the world quietly agreed. This chapter is closed. Months later, I walked past a park near my apartment. A young couple sat under a tree, holding a baby girl wrapped in a white blanket. I slowed not because it was them. It wasn't. But because it looked like her. And for a second, I imagined walking over, sitting down, saying, "You don't know me, but I know what it took to get you here." But I didn't. Instead, I whispered it to the wind and kept walking. Because some stories aren't meant to be told. They're meant to be lived. And mine? Mine had already found its ending. Not with revenge. Not with regret. But with rest. And on that night, with the rain still gently falling, I finally slept. Not because I had healed, but because I had chosen peace over permission. And that was the kind of motherhood no one could take from me.